My goodness, I think we're live. We are live. This is amazing. Okay, hi team. How are we? I'm going to just check on my phone here to make sure we are live. Yes, we're live. Hi everybody, come and join us here. I'll tag everyone here so you can all come and watch. Hi. Thanks for being here and thanks for your patience once again. Oh my goodness, what a great time to be talking about stress, hey? This new technology linking Zoom and Facebook, every time I try and jump on here and go live, I have the same issues over and over again. I keep getting there, you cannot go live, wrong details or whatever it is. They've changed it so much and I can never remember. So of course that elevates my own stress levels, my own cortisol. So yeah, it's a very, very good time to be talking about stress. So, thanks for being here. Please, I can't see who is watching at the moment. I can see there are 3 people. So please drop me a note. No, there's actually 5 people here. Drop me a note. If you are watching, say hi and tell me where you're tuning in from. All right. And also, drop me a high five, right? Who here has experienced some level of stress in their life and who here might be currently experiencing some level of stress in their life? Hi Margaret, hi Laurie, yes, from Canada, good to see you. Right, so you guys are experiencing stress in your life, and also give me maybe a double hands up or a double high five if you feel like stress might be impacting your health and your weight loss results. Tell me in the comments. I am curious to know. And for any of you watching back on replay, give us some replay love as well, hashtag replay. And also give us your hands up if you've experienced stress, elevated levels of stress. Hi Julie, good to see you too. Hi Nancy, thanks for tuning in. Who else is that I saw? Heidi, yes, hello. All right, so everyone here is like putting their hands up going stressed. Yes, yes, absolutely. All right, so most of you here who I know are joining me, I know that you know who I am, but for anybody who might be new around here who doesn't know who I am, I'm Karen. I'm the Plant Power Coach. This is my group. Welcome, great to have you here. I am whole food plant-based certified. I'm also a health coach and a life coach, and I help people achieve their health and their weight goals with the power of a plant-based diet, lifestyle, and all the emotional mindset healing as well. Hey Carol, great to have you here as well. All right, a lot of thumbs up, a lot of high fives going on here. Yeah, everyone's experiencing stress, hey? Oh, Julie, if you're on your phone, you can just give me an, what do you call it, an emoji. Give me an emoji. I don't know, if you're on your laptop, I don't know how you do it there. Okay, so, all right. So if you don't have my my guides, my weight loss guide, I think I dropped that in the comments. Make sure you grab a copy of that. Stress is one of the key, I guess, tools to helping you, or key habits to helping you achieve your weight loss goals. And certainly it's beneficial for your health to be managing this as well. Okay, so let's just talk about what we're going to talk about today. I'm just going to give you a brief overview of, or understanding of stress. What is it? What types of stress we have, the healthy versus unhealthy, and then acute versus the chronic. We're going to look at how stress affects the body, sort of the physiological responses in the body, as well as the hormonal changes that happen. We're going to understand the impacts of stress on your health, both the short-term effects that can happen as well as the long-term chronic effects that can happen if we're not managing our stress, letting go of old hurts and pains. And then we'll look at stress and weight loss and how stress can impact your weight loss goals, the negative impacts that it has. And then we'll look at some tools and tips for managing your stress, for improved health and for weight loss. Then we're just going to cap it all off at the end, okay? So let's look at stress. Stress is something we all deal with, but understanding it can help us manage manage it better and help us stay on track with our health and weight goals. Right, so what is stress and the types of stress that we can have? So first of all, stress is our body's normal physiological response to a demand or challenge. And it is a normal part of our body's inbuilt survival system. So our body is programmed for survival. And when our body recognizes that there might be a threat of some sort, it wants to mobilize us to move to save our life. Now, a little bit of stress is healthy. We're never going to be 100% stress-free. We do not want that. A little bit of stress does motivate us. It gets us to move, either to get the stuff done in our lives that we want to get done. A little bit of stress will motivate us to go to work, to get there on time, to pay our bills on time, right? So a little bit of stress actually motivates us to show up in our life. It also, a little bit of stress, we're designed to have little bursts of stress in those moments when our life might be in danger. So if, for example, a friend of mine a few years ago, was in a motorbike accident. A car pulled out in front of him as he was driving down the street. And he went straight over it, straight over top of the car, and so did the bike. And it was a bad accident, but there was so much adrenaline and cortisol flooding through his body as a result of that accident that he was actually able, as he came to in the middle of the road, he saw his motorbike scattered on one side, and he was in the middle of the road, and he's like, shit, I've got to get off the road. I've got to save my life, drag this bike off the road so that there's not a further accident, so that I'm not run over. And so all of that cortisol and adrenaline running through his body not only saved his life because of the impact, but it actually helped him get up off the ground and drag a heavy motorbike across the ground so that it wasn't going to cause any more accidents. Now, he ended up needing to have surgery on both shoulders and both knees because of the impact of that accident. There is no way he should have physiologically been able to get up and walk, let alone dragging his bike off the road with that level of injury. It was because of all of the life-saving functions that had happened inside of his body in order to be able to save his life. The adrenaline, the cortisol, and the way his body physiologically changed in that moment of stress. Okay, so we do need stress. We do need it for those moments when our life might be in danger. It's what helped our ancestors survive in times when, living in caves, and there might have been a saber-toothed tiger at the door. Okay, so they needed to be on high alert for all of the things that could be of concern to their well-being and their safety. Right, so we do need a little bit. A little bit is good, but then there is that's the acute stress. A little bit is good, but our long-term chronic stress is what is causing us problems. Okay, so long-term chronic stress is that either a constant low-level stress in the background of our life that never really goes away, or long-term high levels of chronic stress in our life that are never really going away, and it's from ongoing situations in our life that we are allowing. All right, I'm going to say allowing because our life is a choice. We always have choices in life. So knowing the difference between what sort of stress we are experiencing and the impacts that it can have on our health are important. Okay, so let's look at, hey Niru, great to see you as well. No, Nancy, there's no Zoom link. You're not coming into the Zoom room today. I'm just streaming live to Facebook. Okay, so physiological responses in the body when we feel stressed. We're going to look at the immediate responses that happen, and then what happens over the long term. So let's look at what's actually happening. So when we're stressed, when that stress response is activated, so this is called it's normally in normal human speak, it's called fight or flight, but in the scientific speak, it's called the sympathetic nervous system. So we've got two nervous systems: sympathetic, which is our fight or flight, and then parasympathetic, which is our rest and digest, heal and feel. And as you can, I guess from that one, fight or flight, save your life. Heal and feel, rest and digest is where we digest our food and where we heal our body. Our body will not heal if we're stressed. We cannot digest our food properly and absorb nutrition properly if we are stressed, right? So take that one down. So what happens in our body when that fight or flight response is activated? So our brain is being delivered all sorts of information constantly throughout the day through our senses, through our eyes. I practiced this last night and I went ears. So our eyes, our ears, our nose, our mouth, our skin, so our touch and our physical sensation, and also our intuition, right? Our gut wisdom, our intuition, that definitely gives information to our brain. So all of this information is coming in constantly to our brain. Now, how information comes to our brain is it starts at the lower parts of our brain first. Our lizard brain, the brain stem, the most primitive part of our brain first. Okay, so it comes in, information comes in through that brain stem and then moves up to the higher parts of our brain. And as that information moves up to our higher parts of our brain, we're able to better assess this information. But guess what? If our lower parts of our brain recognize a potential threat, a potential danger, this stress response is activated. And what it does, it starts to release hormones, stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. And because of that adrenaline and cortisol starting to move through our body, it starts to create a cascade of other normal physiological responses in our body, like our heart starts to beat faster. Our breath starts to become shallow. We breathe more chest, and we tend to breathe in through our mouth instead of through our nose. Our eyes dilate, we become wider, so that we can spot the danger out there in the world. You know, we can see it much more clearly. Then blood and oxygen is drawn away from our internal organ systems, and it is then pumped out to arms and legs so that we have the strength and the speed along with that adrenaline that's floating through our system to be able to save our life. We can fight, we can flee. Those internal organ systems that were once being given energy and blood and oxygen, they are switched off. Guess what they include? Digestion, your immune system, reproductive system, your prefrontal cortex, the smart, logical, reasoning part of your brain. Turns off, leaves the room. So those systems are all turned off. They need energy during the normal calm parts of our day to be able to do their job. When your life is in danger, when your body and your brain recognizes a threat of some sort, they are not required for the life-saving functions. All of the energy is diverted away from them to the life-saving functions of your body. Now, if you're going to save your life, you're going to need energy, right? You're going to need a very quick form of glucose so that you have the ability to be able to flee or fight. You have that energy right there. So your liver and your muscles start to dump glucose into the bloodstream so that you do have the strength and the speed there to save your life. The lower, more reactionary parts of your brain start to take over. All right, so not the logical, oh, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing going on in my environment at the moment. It's just my boss getting cranky at me, right? My boss is just having a negative emotion. No, these lower parts of our brain start to take over and they go, oh my God, my boss doesn't love me. My boss hates me, right? Which activates I'm not loved equals I'm going to be in danger, which equals I'm going to die, right? So we're not thinking logically, we're not thinking clearly. We become more reactionary. Our body doesn't want us to be sitting there assessing the situation. It wants us to move. So we become very reactionary. And also because, you know, smart guys not turned on, we don't make our smartest decisions. Our reactions are usually things that we regret later if our life is not in danger. If our life is in danger, they are very, very quick reactions that we can have. Like imagine just stepping out on the road and you suddenly see something coming. It's like, whoa, you are stepping back or you're moving forward very quickly before you've even really thought about it. It's just a reaction. So that's what's happening in those moments. So these changes that happen in the body are perfect for those short-term responses. They're perfect for when we do need to save our life. This is what enables us to move fast. It gives us the strength, it gives us the speed to be able to save our life when it's needed. But if our life is not in danger, and we have these constant high levels of stress in our life because we are allowing things in our life, or we're making meaning from our circumstances in some way that feels like a threat to us, it wreaks havoc on our body. Now, most of our stress these days is not caused by those life-threatening situations. We're not constantly under threat all day, every day. No. If you're watching here over Zoom or over Facebook, if you've got Facebook, you know, you've likely got a link to Wi-Fi, you've got a device to be able to watch, you know, likelihood is you've got a roof over your house, over your head as well. Right? So we're fairly safe these days. We don't live with that level of danger all day, every day. Our stress is being activated because of how we think, what we are allowing in our lives, whether that's overscheduling ourselves, whether that's having poor boundaries, whether it's saying yes to everybody else's needs and not putting our own needs first. Right? Overscheduling ourselves, saying yes to all the things when we really want to be saying no. It is activated by thinking that people don't love us, that somehow we are going to be alone forever and we're going to die. Like somebody said something nasty to me equals I'm going to be disconnected from that person. I'm not loved. There's something wrong with me, which activates the stress response equals I'm going to die. Okay, this is where most of our stress is coming from these days. All of the stuff comes from our thinking, terrible thinking, which makes us feel terrible and then leads to terrible action. All right, so much of our stress we do actually have some level of control over these days. These elevated, constant stress levels in our body lead to a variety of health issues if we're not paying attention, if we're not taking care of ourselves. So let's look at the impacts of stress on our health. So some short-term effects can be things like digestive issues. You can start having gut distress because your digestive system is turned off. If you are eating through stress, you are going to be causing yourself gut problems. Your digestion's just not working properly. You'll also have trouble absorbing nutrition. So even if you're eating really healthy, you're not going to feel healthy because you're not actually absorbing all of that nutrition because it's not digesting properly. I had serious issues when I was in corporate before leaving because I was not allowing myself to take a lunch break, to de-stress. I'm specifically talking about the corporate job before coming here. In fact, I'll talk about that next because there's a whole host of health issues that were actually coming out of that. So let's just talk about the issues first. Digestive issues and trouble absorbing your nutrition are some of the issues. You can have start having headaches and migraines as a result of too much stress. The elevated cortisol in your body, this constant high level or medium to high level of cortisol in your body means your serotonin becomes lower. And when we have less serotonin, we also have less melatonin. So your serotonin and melatonin levels are like brother and sister. One's for the day, one's for the night. When one's low, the other's low. Low melatonin equals poor sleep. Poor sleep then means more elevated cortisol during the day and issues with self-regulation, with managing your stress levels. Also, the elevated blood glucose is going to play havoc for anyone with prediabetes. It means you're going to have elevated insulin in your body as well. Because if your life literally isn't in danger, you do not need to, you're not going to be using that extra blood glucose that's being dumped into your system. So then your body's got to produce more insulin in order to cope with that. And if you're already insulin resistant or have diabetes of some sort, pre or type 2 diabetes, then this is also playing more havoc with your insulin levels. And we know that insulin is a fat storage hormone, which we'll talk about shortly. So some of the long-term effects of chronic disease, of chronic stress can lead to more chronic health conditions as well. And they can contribute to things like heart problems, heart disease, diabetes, issues with your high blood pressure. It can cause issues with your immune system. Autoimmune conditions are often related to unprocessed stress that has built up in the body, and unprocessed emotions as well. It can lead to things like kidney disease. It can lead to gut disorders of all sorts. So it is really, really important that we get on top of our stress levels. Stress also weakens your immune system, so it's actually putting you more at risk of things like infections, viruses, or bacterial infections, illnesses, that are related to your immune system of all types. So getting back to my story, when I was at my last corporate job, one, I wasn't really loving the job. I was not feeling like it was the right job for me. But two, there was a lot to be done, and the goalposts kept being moved, to the point where I was kind of like, I just don't care anymore. Like, you tell me what to do and I'll do it. And even then it wasn't right. I was at that point. I was just so resigned from the job, but I was experiencing heart palpitations a lot. Right, I'd be sitting there at the desk and I could just feel my heart going like this. It was awful. I could feel that my breathing was right up in my chest. I struggled to make decisions, but I didn't know what was happening in my body at the time. I would sit there in a stupor sometimes because I just couldn't make a decision. I was not taking a lunch break because there was just too much to get done. If I took a break for my lunch, it meant that I'd be there later at the end of the day, and I was already working later hours. I would then work through my lunch, eat through that stress, and then all afternoon I was sitting in terrible gut pain, backwards and forwards to the bathroom, trying to sort out what was going on with my digestion. And yes, part of it was the food that I was eating, but a lot of this was stress related, I'm sure. It led to poor sleep. There were nights when I simply couldn't get to sleep because my body was so locked up with stress. I was so, overwhelmed with things that had to be done, all the looming deadlines that were coming up. And then the everyday little, you've got to deal with this fire, that fire, the other fire. I felt like I spent my days dealing with little fires and was not able to get onto the really big projects that were the big movers in the business. So the worsening sleep led to worsening stress. I remember going to work one day. I shouldn't have even been driving. I probably had an hour's sleep. I felt hungover. I felt like I'd been given some sort of drowsiness drug. I just felt I could not cope. I felt like I wanted to burst out into tears every second moment. I got to the point where my body was locking up. In stress, I developed chronic stress problems in my back, and I was seeing an osteo and the word chronic was used. And I thought, yeah, that sounds about right. And it took, working with them for a couple of years, and we still really didn't get to the bottom of it. You know why? It's because I wasn't getting to the root cause of my back problem, which was all the stress. I was still in an environment that was causing me problems in my body. My body was trying to speak to me. Because of all of this stress, it meant that I was, and not sleeping. I was not exercising. I just wasn't exercising as much. I just didn't have the energy levels to be physically active. I needed that extra sleep in the morning if I could get that extra sleep. And so I wasn't going to the gym, which meant I wasn't burning off that stress. I wasn't using a very effective tool to manage my stress levels. Not exercising, burning off that stress. Exercise also produces serotonin and endorphins that help you feel happy. So with that lowered level of serotonin was also the lowered level of melatonin, and of course that impacted my sleep in a different way. So all of this was creating this terrible feeling in my body. I would jump in my car to go to work in the morning and I could feel my back locking up already. My body was trying to tell me something. My goodness. So we have to pay attention to this. It's when we feel these elevated levels of stress and we can feel it impacting our body, we have to pay attention, or else we're going to end up with issues. If we're not paying attention, if we're not paying attention to our body and working on lowering our stress, it can lead to long-term issues. If we are also not processing or dealing with unhealed trauma, it can lead to disease in the body. One of my clients has had issues with like family relations, connection to family members, and it led to heart problems. Like, even when he's been fully whole food, plant-based, looking after his health, he can still have heart problems, and they come up when he's had connection issues with his family. Another client of mine, she had Hashimoto's, and she also developed a nodule on her thyroid that they feared was going to be cancer. Thankfully, it wasn't cancer. But it wasn't just her old diet that was causing these thyroid problems. Where the disease shows up, where the dis-ease shows up, makes logical sense to the emotional pain that you might be holding on to. And her emotional pain was a fear of speaking up, was a fear of putting her needs first and speaking up to people in her life and saying what she needed to say. She felt shut down. She would get this tightening sensation through her throat every time she wanted to say something that was slightly uncomfortable, that might cause a little bit of drama. And so that's where her thyroid problems came from. So not only did we work on nutritional strategies to help heal her body, we managed to get that nodule down in size on her throat, so she avoided an operation in the time that we worked together. And we also worked on healing the internal trauma that she'd been holding on to and changing that story, seeing things from a different perspective, helping her to be able to step into speaking up and realizing that there was no drama, there was no danger anymore, right? That danger happened in the past and it was not here now. But her lower parts of her brain was sensing danger, a similar situation to the past, so it brings in that danger response. Do not talk, there's danger there. Another of my clients, she had held on to anger towards her mother because her mother left the family at, I think, the age of 11 or 12, when she was 11 or 12. And my client had made it mean that her mother didn't love her, that she was somehow unworthy. And so that was causing her a lot of stress. It was a lot of unprocessed pain and trauma that was getting stored in her body. And guess where it's stored? It's stored in her kidneys. That anger stored in her kidneys. And she used to turn up to our sessions and I could tell she was holding back something. She was holding back emotion. Anytime we touched on something that was hitting a bit of a nerve with her, she wanted to burst out crying. And she was holding it back. And I could see this on her face, and I said, you've got to let this go. You've got to let this out. This is what we're here for. We're here to heal this wound. And this wound is festering in your body, and it has gone to your kidneys. And we looked at the story of kidneys, which was holding on to anger, particularly towards a parent figure. And when we got to that, she just burst out crying. She knew. And it was so healing for her to be able to cry and not feel like she had to hold it back. All her life she'd been taught that having a negative emotion was wrong and that she had to hold it back, had to suppress it, but suppressing it in her body was making her sick. So I helped her feel her emotion, get it out, express herself, how she felt, that it wasn't wrong, it just was. And that there was no fear to be had by expressing her, how she felt, her emotion. And it was actually the healthiest thing for her. And so by doing that, she was then able to go back and look at we were able to go back and look at the story that she'd held on to her whole life, which was that my mother doesn't love me. I'm not worthy. I'm not worth love. And we changed that story. We said, hey, your mama was just dealing with something that she didn't know how to deal with. And her fight or flight response was to flee. She was in pain somehow. It wasn't because she didn't love you. In fact, she's back here right now, wanting to reconnect to you. And she was actually offering my client a kidney. Should it be a match? Should she get to that point of needing a transplant? And so through our work together, we were actually able to help her heal her relationship with her mother. Let go of all the anger and the pain that she'd been holding on to in her body. Let go. Anytime she felt a stress response come up in her body, instead of suppressing it back and denying feeling it, she was able to just feel it and let it go, which was so much healthier. Okay, so that's how it affects the health of our body. Laurie, my family were taught not to talk about it. Yeah. I was not like that. So you're the black sheep. Okay, yeah. So where is being the black sheep in the family? Is being the black or feeling like the black sheep in the family, is that affecting you? Is that causing you stress? Is that making you feel like you're disconnected from your family? Disconnection from our family and our loved ones equals I'm going to be on my own, equals my life might be in danger, equals I'll die. Okay, so that can also activate the stress response. If you're okay with being a black sheep, I'm different in my family. I'm the only plant-based one. So I've kind of gotten used to being the different one. Many years ago, yes, it affected how I saw myself as well. Red hair was different to everybody else. No one else had red hair. I was always the new kid at school because we moved around so much. So, everybody else had their friend groups, and I always felt like a bit of an outsider because, everyone else had established friendship groups. And so for a long time, I did feel like a black sheep. I did feel different, and I made it a problem. I made it mean something negative all about me. But I've learned that, being a black sheep, it can be a powerful thing too, and that's how I see it now. Yeah, amazing. Michelle, I'm dealing with hormonal imbalances. I can't eat a lot. I'm having food sensitivities. I don't know how to get my life back. Yeah, Michelle, some of those hormonal imbalances, maybe they're being caused by stress. Excuse me. It's winter, my nose is dripping. Yeah, maybe that has been caused by these elevated cortisol levels. So that has an impact then on all sorts of other hormonal systems in our body. We said that it impacts your insulin because your blood glucose starts to go up. If it's impacting your sleep, your melatonin's down, your serotonin's down, your dopamine is likely down as well. It can also impact when you're not sleeping. It's going to, in fact, that's what we're going to get onto now with weight loss. When it impacts your sleep, it's going to impact your hunger and satiation hormones. It impacts a lot of different systems in your body. So let's talk about stress and weight loss goals. What it impacts. Excuse me. Just writing myself another note here. Okay, so one, when we are stressed, as I said, our smart decision maker, our human brain, our prefrontal cortex, the highest part of our brain is dulled. This is the most energy inefficient part of our body. So it takes a lot of energy to think clearly, to think smart. All right. So that part of our body, we need to divert all of the resources away from that part of our body if we're going to survive. So it really shuts down. So we are more reactionary. We do tend to make poorer choices around our food, but around all sorts of things. Like if we're more reactionary, guess what? Boom, we might say something to our loved ones that we regret later. How many of us have done that? Hey. So we do tend to make poor choices. Why? It's because, eating foods that are loaded with sugar, salt, and fat, all those ultra-processed foods that taste so good, guess what? They send serotonin and dopamine to our brain. And that serotonin and dopamine that's sent to our brain says, I am safe. Pleasure chemicals tell the brain, I'm safe. It's okay. And that's what helps to turn off that stress response. That's why we feel comforted. So it has a positive intention, and that is helping us come back to that level of safety that we desire. But we also know that when it's, false pleasure, it also has a bunch of consequences that come with it as well. Okay, so we don't make smart choices towards our food. Foods that are high in sugar, fat, and salt equal more calories, equal, ultra-processed foods mess with our gut and mess with our metabolism in so many ways. That's another training altogether. Stress also impacts, high levels of stress, constant levels of stress also impact our gut health. So I said our digestion is actually turned off, but what it can do is actually create a dysbiotic gut, which means it will take a healthy gut environment and make it unhealthy. So it starts to create the overgrowth of unhealthy gut microbes in our gut. All right, so when we've got an environment that is overloaded with unhealthy gut microbes, it's actually going to slow down your metabolism, which of course slows down energy burning, slows down fat burning. Elevated levels of cortisol in the body promote fat storage. This is a survival mechanism. If your body senses danger and threat, it is going to want to store body fat because it says we're going to need all of the energy that we can. We don't know how long this danger is going to last. And if you've got this constant chronic high level of stress, guess what? Oh my God, our life is just constantly in danger. We constantly need to be storing fat because we need to get through this danger. We're going to need all the energy in the world. Our body hasn't evolved. Our world has. Our food system has. But we haven't. We're still a very primitive being running around in this modern world that is not set up for our best health. Insulin. If you're constantly at if you've got chronic high levels of stress, you're going to have this high blood glucose level, and you are going to have high insulin levels as well, because that if you're not actually saving your life and burning off that blood glucose, using it, then your body's got to produce more insulin to store it away again. So we know insulin as well as a fat storage hormone. Your sleep, if your sleep is being impacted by these high levels of stress, then of course that's going to play havoc with your hunger and your satiation hormones. Your hunger hormone ghrelin becomes much higher, and your satiation hormone leptin is lowered, so you eat more food. You're constantly hungry. If you haven't watched my training on sleep, please go back and watch that, or just put sleep in the comments and I'll get that to you. It's pinned to the top of the group, but poor sleep messes with your hunger and your satiation hormones and throws them out of balance, and we end up eating more food. So there are so many ways that elevated stress, due to our lifestyle, not these life-threatening situations, because they're just a once-in-a-blue-moon type thing, and that's what our body's designed for, but elevated chronic stress is due to what we are allowing in our life, whether it's thoughts, whether it's overscheduling, whether it's people pleasing and putting everybody else's needs first, this is what's causing our stress, and you have control over that. Your stress will never 100% go away because it is a normal physiological response to threat, to danger. But maintaining your stress is going to be crucial for maintaining good health or achieving good health and achieving your weight loss goals. This is a big part of what I work with my clients, whether it's just working on the people pleasing, whether it's working on the overscheduling, whether it's helping them set up their schedules for ease and flow instead of like hard and overwhelming and stressful. Yeah, we can achieve our goals and make it simple and doable. We have to do that. We have to do things in a way that is not going to stress our system and create this cortisol, create the stress response in our body. But here are some techniques or some tools that you can lean on to help you manage these stress levels. So exercise is fantastic. You've probably heard this time and time again. Moving your body, okay, so it burns off that energy. It also burns up that glucose so that, you don't have to pump more insulin into your body. You actually get your body moving so that you're using that glucose, but it helps to move the energy in your body, helps to burn off that stress too. It also has the beautiful effect of boosting serotonin and endorphins to improve your mood. So prior to my last job, the job before, oh my God, that was just as stressful. But guess what? Because it was so much closer to home, less travel time. I also, the people and the environment was and the job itself, I actually loved working there so much more than the last job I was at. And so, but I was able to exercise during that time. And, if I usually did it in the morning, it set me up for a great day. I felt pumped by the time I got to my desk. It's like, right, we can go. And but if I didn't get a chance to exercise in the morning, guess what? For most of the time when I was working there, either I had a gym just not too far, or we actually had a gym in the building, in the new building that we built. And so I was able to go at lunchtime. I'd get to lunchtime, I'd be like, I feel like murdering someone. I've got to go do a workout. So exercise, and it just made me feel so much great. I was able to handle the afternoon so much better. So believe me, exercise is a great way to burn off that stress. Make sure you are getting enough sleep. Okay, yes, stress can impact your sleep, but if you're not sleeping, if sleep is the starting point, if you have poor sleep hygiene, then your stress levels are going to be more difficult to manage during the day. So if your sleep hygiene is not on point, let's get your sleep hygiene sorted out first. Again, go back to that sleep training. I've got some great tips for getting a great night's sleep in there. Let's get your routine sorted out, get you off your devices, get you some healthy boundaries with things like your work. If you're reading emails at 3 o'clock in the morning or sending emails at 3 o'clock in the morning, okay, that's a boundary issue. We've got to work on that. All right, so great sleep hygiene is necessary. Maintaining a healthy, fiber-rich diet is going to help you maintain great gut health. Great gut health sends better signals to your brain. It equals better mental health. There are things that you can be doing nutritionally to support your stress levels, all right? And of course, it helps you maintain your weight. So things like meditation can help you calm your mind. As I said, most of our stress these days comes from, I have a worrying mind, all the shitty thinking that comes in here. We have control over what happens in our mind. We have control over our thinking. We just need to learn how to do it. This is what I teach my clients, how to get control of their thinking, how to spot their shitty thinking, how to change their shitty thinking. When you change your shitty thinking, the emotion goes away. The stress goes away. Mindfulness, this is what we talk about. This is how we spot our shitty thinking. This is how we become more present to what we are thinking. We pay more attention to the crap that is causing us to feel like crap. This is really important because when we feel like crap, right, we're elevating the cortisol, we're shutting down the brain, we're doing silly things. And that impacts our results. Journaling. If you've got a lot in here and you don't know where the crap is, write it down. It's a great way to get your crap out. Get it out of your head. Stop it whirring around in here. Then you can see the crap on paper. You can see the shitty thinking that is causing you to feel the way you feel. You get to decide at that point if you want to continue believing that shit or letting it go. If you let it go, it has a powerful effect, believe me. Social connection. Connection is hugely important to how you feel. We're designed to be connected. Connection with our tribe equals safety, equals I'm loved, I'm accepted, I matter. We need to feel this because it signals to our brain that we are okay, that we are surviving, that our life isn't in danger. When we feel, I have to say a lot, not most, but a lot of my clients have had weight loss problems, issues with their stress levels, with their emotions, because of some level of disconnection with people, and often family, whether it's a relationship with a parent, or whether it's issues in a relationship like a marriage or partnership. So we need connection. We thrive in connection. And when we don't feel connected, when we feel isolated, or when we feel unworthy or unloved by other people in some way, it elevates our stress levels. It elevates our negative emotion, right? So connection is huge. Make sure you have a very supportive and connected social network. People who really support you. And that's where coming into a community like my Plant Power Transformation community has been so powerful for some of my clients, because they might, as they transition to plant-based eating, it can feel very isolating, like they're on their own, like like being the black sheep, right? Being different to everybody else. And certainly as we move on this journey, people do have, I guess, their input as to how we're eating, right? They do have their own anxieties and issues that they're dealing with in their body, and it comes out of their mouth because they're not thinking clearly. Also, it's also, driven by all their own biases and their own beliefs and, their own programming. And so some of what they say to us triggers our emotional insides, like, oh, they don't love us. We're being rejected. We're being abandoned. And so coming into an environment like my Plant Power Transformation community with my weight loss clients, it can be just the sort of connection that helps people stay on board. They feel like they belong somewhere. They feel like they are supported on their journey, that people have their back there, and they can ask the questions that they need to ask without being shot down and told that they're an idiot because they're not getting enough protein, right? All that crap that people give us. So connection with others is incredibly important. Boundaries. Having strong boundaries is going to be really super important. And I don't just mean with people, other people. I mean with yourself as well. And I mean with things like work, with your scheduling. Like, what are you saying yes to when you should be saying no? Where are you overloading yourself? Where do you have weak boundaries with things like your work, and you always taking on the crap from other people, and saying yes to every social event that comes out there when you really are exhausted and you just need to rest? Where do you have weak boundaries, and where are you letting other people's shit become more of a priority than your own? And then emotional healing. If you are holding on to some old pains, some old wounds, well, guess what? You are going to be, that stuff gets stored in your body. That's what creates dis-ease in your body. It causes inflammation, it causes dis-ease. So the emotional healing is really, really important. Or that emotion that's stuck in your body causing disease is going to continue to come up and like explode on you. You'll be so wound up and so tight that you will burst out at the touch of a feather. You know, there's the smallest little things can set you off emotionally. Heal the underlying emotional trauma or pain. Whether it's little T trauma, big T trauma, you work with a therapist on the big T trauma. I help people with their little T traumas. And that's all the crap that we're holding on in here, the stories that we're holding on to. If we're not healing our internal wounds at a deep level, we will constantly be triggered. And those triggers cause the stress response in our body. We need to get to the root cause of it so that we can turn it off. You've seen that picture that is, you know, doctors mopping up the floor with the tap and the faucet, or the tap is like running, right, and overflowing everywhere. Well, our emotions are the same. We can constantly deal with the effect of stress. Absolutely, we need to. We need to have effective tools to calm our stress response. But if the cause of our stress is deep-seated emotional crap, we need to get in and turn the tap off. We need to find where we're causing our own stress, and we need to get in there and turn it off so that we don't have to mop up the floor. So that we're mopping up the floor occasionally and not all day, every day. That gets exhausting. So this is what I work on with my clients. It's all of this stuff. It's not just nutritional strategies. We're working through how to set up their life so that it is more in flow and not causing them stress. It's healthy sleep habits so that their stress levels are low. It's tips and tools to deal with stress as it comes up. And then it is getting deep into what's going on in here and what's going on in here that's causing these chronic levels of stress in your life, right? Emotional healing takes staying present with yourself, understanding where it's coming from. What is your body trying to say? What needs to be healed? What in your body is asking to be healed right now? How can we change the story around what you're telling yourself that is causing this negative response in your body, in your brain? And how can we start to rewire that? All right. Have a look in here. Michelle, don't want to count calories? No, God no. Who wants to do that? You don't need to count calories in order to achieve your weight loss goals. You just need to get to the root of why you've put on the weight and shift that. And a lot of that for people is stress. A lot of that for people is the food that they're eating, but why are they eating that food? Because of negative emotion, stress. Beautiful, Julie. I've made a conscious decision in the past few years to put myself first and enjoy life every day more. Yeah, working on it every day. Yeah, same. I made a conscious decision. I was not going to work in that environment anymore. That's where Plant Power Coach came from. What do you think? I was like, I'm out of here. I know what I want to do with my life now. I want to do something that's so much more meaningful. I do not want to be in an environment like this that is not serving me and who I want to be, which is I want to be somebody who has impact and can help others. But I had to help myself first. I had to get out of the environment that was causing me so much pain. Michelle, you're the opposite, not hungry. Okay, well, there's some things that can go on there. You know, maybe maybe you've been ignoring your hunger cues for so long that now your body doesn't produce them. I don't know. The thing is, maybe let's have a chat. Maybe let's have a chat. You've been told for years I had to count calories. Yeah, I know. This is all the crap that we get told, don't we? This is not a session about counting calories, though. I don't want to take it to that point. Michelle, if you want to have a deeper level chat with me, what we'll do, take you through a roadmap call, take you through a roadmap session, and we're going to dive in to see what is truly going on with you. I can look at all your habits. I can look at, your experiences, what is going on in your body. We're going to uncover, like when people come and do this with me, they are usually so focused on the food that they miss what is actually happening. I had a call with someone the other day. What it revealed was that she needs to have stronger boundaries, either have stronger boundaries at her work life, learn how to set boundaries, learn how to feel uncomfortable while she learns how to set boundaries, or she needs to leave the environment that she's in. Her body simply won't heal while she's in that state. So she needs to make a decision about what's more important, my life or my job. That was really uncomfortable for her to face. I also had a conversation with someone else the other day. She came to me like, I'm eating so well. It's like, yeah, but she's having 10 cups of coffee per day, not sleeping. Her stress levels are through the roof. Okay, there you go. There's your answer. So come, if you want to make a roadmap call with me, we can get to the heart of it, okay? And then it's not about counting calories. Like, our primitive cousins never counted calories. We're eating the wrong foods. We're overstressed, overscheduled, overworked. We're not letting go of our emotional shit. And we're believing all of the fucking lies that are out there about dieting. We're taking on all the bullshit diet stuff that we hear in the industry, like we've got to be eating 1,200 calories. That's a conversation for another day. I'm not going to go there today. I could do a whole session on why eating 1,200 calories or whatever it is that you're eating is wrong. I could do a whole session on why focusing on macros only is wrong. Right? We don't have time for that today because I've got a roadmap call to get to. All right, guys. So if any of you want to book in a roadmap call, Laurie, yeah, I'm gonna reach out to you anyway because you're doing the Kickstart. You're gonna get one anyway. So I'm going to book one of those in with you. But yeah, just send me a DM and we'll set it up now. But just send me a DM. So anybody who wants to have a roadmap call with me, please either drop roadmap call. I don't know, Michelle. Stop asking about calories. Book a call with me and we'll talk about it. Right? There are biological processes in your body, signals in your body that your body is telling you that guide you to eat. I want you to think about this. No other creature on this planet has a weight loss problem except for humans and domesticated pets. And why? It's the food we're eating. Even the domesticated pets, think about it. Processed animal food, right? It's made by, well, the food industry. No one else on this planet has the chronic health conditions that we do. Humans and domesticated pets. Why? It's the food, and it's our, it's the food and why we're eating, the reasons that we're eating. Right? Most of us are not eating because of hunger. We're eating because of this stress, because of our emotions, how we feel, how we want to feel, escaping pain. This is the reason that we're overweight. Wrong food, wrong reasons to eat. We've got to get to the core. Okay, so Michelle, let's book in a roadmap call. You don't need to count calories. It's all crap. None of my clients count calories. They don't count anything. They don't count macros. If anything, they count plant points. That creates a healthy gut environment. That's what we want to get to. Anyway, I've got to sign off because I've got another roadmap call to get to. Heidi, if you're watching, so sorry, but you would be coming into my Zoom call if you were trying to come into it. So I've got to run now, team. If you've got any questions, please dump them below. Michelle, I would suggest if you want to know more about how to lose lose weight the plant-based way, there are plenty of trainings that are pinned to the top, foundational trainings pinned to the featured section. You can go and watch those. That'll teach you how to lose weight without needing to count any calories. Also, my weight loss guide, which I have pinned to the top of this post, to the top of this live. Grab that. That teaches you the fundamental things that are going to help you create healthy weight loss. It's not rocket science. You probably know a lot of it. And okay, Heidi, I see you want the sleep module. Great. Laurie, DM me. Great. Thanks, Laurie. All right. Robert, love the live stream. Awesome. Michelle, great. Yep, message me. Okay, thanks, team. I love today's session. I hope you did too. Hope this is not too blurry for you. It looks really blurry on my end. But I will chat to you all again very shortly. All right. Ciao for now.